Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Hiya, peepers and creepers, dinosaurs. For as long as I can remember, the Jurassic series has been dear to me. So, as you can imagine, I was thrilled to see another Jurassic movie. The action, the story, and the overall base in Jurassic World Rebirth seemed imaginative. However, I should have lowered my expectations. Rebirth created an intriguing hook in the trailer. Sadly, the hook was ruined when the movie started rolling. So throughout this video, I'll be talking in depth about the movie and tell you suggestions or changes I would make by either talking it over or with a visual representation drawn by me. So let's not waste any more time and jump right in. Let me take you on a ride into this disaster of a movie called Jurassic World Rebirth. The movie starts off 17 years ago in Isle St. Hubert, where we come upon a genetics lab. Multiple scientists are busy with creating new dinosaur mutations, leading to a haunting image of a mutation in a cryo chamber. We then cut to a male worker with a Snickers bar in his mouth, which is hilarious since this is a BSL-4 lab, which usually doesn't allow food, but hey, anything for that advertisement, right? While doing the synchronized key turn, he unknowingly drops the wrapper on the floor and chats to his friend about the mutation known as Stortus Rex, or as I like to call him, Big D, and the increase in Big D's medicine to keep him asleep but not kill him.
Well, we don't want to kill the thing. Some days I do.
Meanwhile, the Snickers wrapper floats with menacing music into the second door, creating a malfunction that shuts down the whole system, including security and all the doors. Wow, just brilliant. Chaos quickly ensues, with the male scientist being trapped in the D-Rex chamber. Scared and distressed, he desperately tries to get his friend to turn her key, but she doesn't budge, revealing Big D standing behind him. The male cries out once more, only to be met with a claw snatching him up to his untimely demise. While the woman's screaming after him, the title card opens, starting the movie. Well, that was horrific. This scene is worthy of many changes, but I'm only going to go over a few. First off, in the lab. The only way they can make a mutation is to give everything 2 heads. That's it. There's more to life than just 2 heads, y'all. Now, let's discuss the elephant in the room, the evil Snickers bar. The candy bar wouldn't even make an appearance since the lab is under biosafety level 4, which requires strict protocols for safety, meaning that no food is allowed in this kind of lab. Not even cosmetics are allowed. It's that secure. Furthermore, scientists are completely sealed within full-body positive pressure suits connected to external air hoses, meaning they cannot open the suit. For changes, I feel that Big D should have gone out because it became immune to the drug, which was stated earlier they were upping the dosage.
Up the soporifics?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go as high as 0.5 milliliters per 100 pounds.
Therefore, it could have pretended to be asleep, tricking the scientist to come inside, where he then wakes up, smashing the door, creating a system reboot with dramatic lighting, of course. We cut to present day, New York City in 2027, where it's discussed that the modern day environment has started killing all dinosaurs, forcing them to retreat to tropical climates which cannot be visited. R.I.P. Beautiful vacations. Fast forward, we see Bronto Billy, the last sauropod in North America, dying in traffic, which leads to the introduction of our egotistic billionaire, Martin Krebs, a pharmaceutical executive who holds a mission for our friend that hopped in the car, Zora Bennett, a baddie mercenary who is eager for some cash. Krebs then tells Zora of the mission and how it will cure heart disease. Zora is standoffish of the danger from this mission because she had just lost a friend. This is why I put burn marks on her to show the repercussions and the guilt she carries. Krebs then continues the job with a higher number, to which she immediately joins. This leads us to the failing museum and the depressed scientist Henry Loomis, a nerdy paleontologist who wants to see dinosaurs alive, unaffected in their environment. They discuss how they will achieve their cure by extracting blood from 3 massive dinosaurs, but they need them alive.
Complete the strands now is with blood and tissue samples from living dinosaurs.
And they're all conveniently located on the very same island Big D was at. After describing to Loomis the thought of seeing a dinosaur in its habitat, he jumps in. All that's left is travel, but Zora luckily has a contact. Meet Duncan Kincaid, our bubbly covert operations team leader, who is also the captain of our boat. We then meet the schmexy, dirty blonde Bobby Atwater, the head of security, with the rest of the teammates, Nina the co-pilot, and her friend LeClaire the deckhand. The first target is the Mosasaurus. Bobby then asks why they can't just kill the thing, to which Loomis retorts they can't and it's a sin to kill.
No, this is where I tell you it's a sin to kill a dinosaur.
Loomis then demonstrates with the tiniest needle in the world how to extract the blood and emphasizes they must be within 10 meters. The next shot shows a sailboat in restricted waters that holds the worst characters in this movie: Isabella, Ruben, Teresa, and her boyfriend Xavier. We get the first shot of the Mosasaurus, whom attacks the tiny boat for no reason and leaves without hurting anyone. The family sends out an SOS, which is received by our crew. You'd think they would ignore it, but nope. Instead, Duncan insists they pick them up. Bobby retaliates that it's 28 miles in the opposite direction and there are people surveilling the waters, but they go anyway. Instead of dropping the family off, they drag them along. Suddenly, the Mosasaurus attacks. Zora sucks at aiming and even misses. Like, good lord. Anyways, they achieve their first sample of dino blood. Duncan tries to get them to the island, where we then see the first mutant off the island, the Spinosaurus. This leads to the death of our sexy shooter Bobby, with his last beautiful words being,
These are all words now.
Baba, no! The Mosasaurus does a magnificent grand jeté, leading to Teresa trying to call for help. Krebs stops her. She pushes herself off, leading to the whole family jumping off the boat. Duncan tells everyone to evacuate just for him to crash safely on the island, where Nina gets taken out quite pathetically, dragging important materials with her. She could have dropped those at any time. The scene ends with Claire squeezing Nina's bloody bandana, and the team walks into the menacing forest. Before we move on to changes, let's take a moment to digest and talk about the minor dinosaur in this scene, the Spinosaurus. Now remember how the lab was creating mutations? Well, that's because the OG crossbreds, like the Dominus Rex, were created there. However, the ones that stayed behind were the failures, meaning they weren't exactly right. For my version, I wanted to really push the element for mutations. First, I will show you the scientific version versus rebirth, and then I will show you my mutated Spinosaurus. Scientifically, the Spinosaurus would be incapable of running on land, but rather it would have to slide on its belly, where the rebirth version was bipedal, meaning it could be flexible, allowing it to run and jump on land. Rebirth had its Spinos hunting in a cross-species pack, swimming and diving in the open ocean. However, scientifically, they were solitary river monsters that had thin jaws only capable of eating fish. Therefore, to make a Spino with the capabilities of rebirth, I mixed it with a killer orca whale and a lionfish. This allows it to deep dive, have a strong jaw to catch bigger prey, and work in a pack. This also enhances the stripes to give a similar feel to the rebirth version. Meet the Orchinosaurus. Now, let's get back to changing the movie. Wow, what a sequence of disappointing and boring moments. The changes I would make to the sequence starts with the family boat. There was no tension at any point. To fix this, the Mosa would do more damage, like splitting the boat in half, so that it could only stay afloat for a duration of time. Next, the fight between the Mosa and Zora's interesting shooting. The scene would start pretty much the same, but instead of Zora missing, Loomis falls over the rail. Zora catches him, trying to pull him up as the Mosa is trying to eat him. Zora pulls him to safety and makes a near impossible shot, successfully getting the Mosasaurus's blood. We then transfer to Bobby's death. For my version, he'll say a much cooler line as he kills 2 Spinosauruses. Unfortunately, one Spinosaurus still grabs Bobby, dragging him to the depths, and as Bobby is dying, he takes out the Spinosaurus with his trusty Bowie knife. This will be the only death in this scene because Nina's death holds no value, so she'll live with a few wounds. And finally, when they grab supplies, they only grab necessities. And here is my Mosasaurus. After Duncan destroyed the boat, everyone is panicking when Zora comes to the rescue with a backup plan for a helicopter to pick them up on the second night, which is tomorrow. We see the family following some pipes to a supposed village where the emblem engine is revealed, which I'll discuss later. Back to the team, we get an honorable mention, which is a mysterious tentacle moving in the water. I won't go over it since it wasn't in the official list of dinosaurs, but I'd love to know what you think it is. The team reveals a desolated helicopter with unknown origins. Krebs snatches the Glock 17 and moves forward. An amphibian with stalker tendencies takes his honorable mention to introduce us back to the family as they are getting ready for the night. Xavier takes watch when he walks off a strange dinosaur, or an Aquilops, become friends with Isabella when she names her Dolores. The camera pans to Xavier having a very awkward pee scene where a velociraptor does no harm. Let's cut to a quick break starring the Velociraptor. The Velociraptor actually has quite a few changes in Rebirth, the most bizarre being the tiger-shaped snout and a row of quills decorating the back of the head, whereas the scientific version has tons of feathers instead of quills and a more upturned snout. Rebirth also greatly dramatizes the size. Guys, sit down, take it in. He's the size of a turkey. The real-life Velociraptor is only 1.5 feet tall, or 46 centimeters. I'm sorry. So, to make the Velociraptor about the same size as Rebirth, I mixed him with a black caiman, the 3rd largest crocodile, but something has gone wrong, making him mutate with extra legs. Meet the Caiman Raptor. Now, back to the changes. While y'all are watching the drawing that I am making for Dolores, let's take a trip down memory lane. In the 1980s on Isla Sorna Site B, John Hammond's bioengineering startup Engine clones the first dinosaurs. This triggers a chain of corporate disasters by sabotage of the rival company Biosyn. They ruin the original Isla Nublar Park Site A and Jurassic Park 1993. Then, a corporate coup by Hammond's nephew Peter Ludlow forces an expedition to harvest Site B's wild dinosaurs for a theme park, resulting in a T-Rex rampage through San Diego in the Lost World Jurassic Park 1997. Years later, a rescue mission on Site B exposes a highly aggressive, illegally bred Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3, 2001. Desiring to rebuild the brand, Masrani Global buys out the fractured engine and successfully opens Jurassic World Resort on Site A in 2005. That same year, Masrani secretly builds a classified crossbreeding lab at Site C, Isle St. Hubert, which suffers a containment breach in 2010. Back at the main resort, chief geneticist Dr. Wu breeds the Indominus Rex. Its escape in Jurassic World 2015 permanently shuts down the park and leaves teenagers stranded in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Following a volcanic eruption in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom 2018, dinosaurs are scattered globally, leading to a massive ecological crisis where Biosyn, led by Louis Dodgson, hoards dinosaurs and creates a giant hybrid locust that threatens the world's global food supply, before being stopped in Jurassic World Dominion 2022. This chaotic global integration leaves Site C as a forgotten geothermally warm sanctuary where dinosaurs thrive away from humans. By Jurassic World Rebirth 2027, a separate corporation called Parker Gen X, owned by Mr. Parker, steps in. Shifting away from Engine's theatrical entertainment, Parker Gen X hunts the dinosaurs down strictly for medical profit. Now that Dolores is nearly finished, let's go over her changes. I sadly cannot put many facts since real scientists only have a partial skull, leaving many unknowns. But instead of just putting a Triceratops head on Aquilops, I mixed her with a Panther chameleon so that with her set of 4 eyes and color-changed skin, she can easily survive Rebirth's dangerous environment and keep her new pal Isabella safe. Next scene. We cut to a field with the team wandering while talking when a sudden bellow makes them anxious. Loomis scares them by munching a mint when a tail whips out of the grass behind him, revealing their next target, the Titanosaurus and his chick. As they're making out, Loomis excitedly rubs one's ankle, Brad's living his fancy. Zora shoots them, surprisingly not missing, acquiring the next sample. They then march on towards the final target. This scene only needs 2 changes. First is that I would like some intensity to the scene, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna kill Leclerc. Here's how it will play out. They've just gotten the sample of the Titans, and as they are watching them with the beautiful sunrise in the background, the Cayman Raptors make a fearsome appearance, leading to a frantic getaway, with Leclerc unfortunately not being fast enough and suffering a gruesome death. Second is the Titan's design. Scientifically, there are some major changes for the Rebirth version, but they fall flat. The biggest change is the dynamic size. Scientifically, the Titan is only 49 feet or 15 meters. However, Rebirth makes them 144 feet or 44 meters tall, which is very inaccurate. They also decorate them with a long tail and orange fins. To stick with the orange fins and tail, I mixed it with a vampire squid, which are known to have very interesting webbing in between their tentacles. The male has webbing under the chin and on all limbs. The female, however, has them on her front limbs. Now here is my romantic scene between the Titans with Leclerc ruining the moment. The family crashes in the next scene by falling down a mountain with no injuries occurring. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the dad, Ruben, has been swimming, walking, and climbing on a shattered ankle. I'm not joking. He broke it at 48:24. You can literally hear the crunch. How is he walking? Anyways, they roll out to see a boat try to cross the river, so Teresa goes onward, stepping in the water with her freaking Converse. Ew. When she comes up, she sees a corpse of a Parasaurolophus. When a Dilophosaurus jumps up on the body to hiss to attack her, he then runs away. She turns around to see a whale bite roll around his beard. She gets the raft, but when she inflates it, the T-Rex is gone. Scared, the family hurries on, starting a chase scene where the T-Rex tries to get Isabella, but they're all safe. And the raft survives the attack. Yay. Let's take a break from that terrible chase scene and instead discuss the corpse and the potential attacker. First, the corpse, otherwise known as a Parasaurolophus. Starting strong with movement, Jurassic shows them as being bipeds walking on 2 legs. They're scientifically known to be quadruped, walking on 4 legs but standing to sprint away. The changes I have made to the Parasaurolophus hints to Camp Cretaceous, where they are displayed as glowing in a cave. Dr. Wu mixed them with marine life, so I did the same by mixing it with a firefly squid. Meet the parasquid. Now let's look at the potential attacker, my favorite, the Dilophosaurus. Guys, this one is also gonna be heartbreaking. Scientifically, the Dilophosaurus has no frill or venom. It's not even the same size. Jurassic has them as 5 to 10 feet or 152 to 304 centimeters long, when they're 20 to 23 feet or 609 to 701 centimeters, which is much bigger. So to make these guys closer to our beloved legends, I mix them with 2 animals, the red spitting cobra in order to have the frill and the potential to spit venom, and the poison dart frog for extra toxins and unique coloring. Without further ado, meet the red Dilophodart. Now back to the changes. This scene finally showcases some anxiety, but fails midway through because no one dies or even gets hurt. So how I would change it would start at the mountain tumble where Ruben breaks his ankle, leaving the family distressed. Xavier, to help the situation, volunteers to go get the raft, taking Teresa's place. The reason I chose this is because Xavier is one of the worst movie characters I have seen in a little bit. He is rude and doesn't think about anyone but himself. This scene explains him perfectly.
I don't even know why she wants to be with me.
Well, she sees who you are.
Thank God she doesn't.
That's why in my version, I want him to actually change into a green flag instead of being a failed attempt. We then quickly go into the chase scene where the T-Rex throws everyone off the raft. With Ruben's ankle broken, he cannot swim fast enough to evade the T-Rex, but in a desperate and heroic act, Xavier pushes him out of the way, which leads to his death. While the T-Rex roars in triumph, the others float away to safety, crying after him. Rebirth's T-Rex, which is named Ember, is actually very close to being scientific, with the only difference being that the T-Rex has no feathers and soft tiger stripes. I wanted to lean into the tiger element fully by representing the feather plumage with tiger fur and making the stripes daring and bold. The T-Rex will also have paw-like features allowing it to climb. I introduce to you the Tigersaurus Rex. Next, we start at a gorgeous view of multiple waterfalls, which our team intends to climb down to the next target's nest. But instead of going after the dinosaur, they're going after the egg, due to the mama being a massive, dangerous predator. As they start their descent, a baby dinosaur steals its honorable mention to reveal a hidden staircase to the random, never-explained Aztec temple where the eggs are located. As Loomis takes a sample from the egg, Zora announces her curiosity towards Loomis's plan to release the cure to the public rather than have people pay thousands just for a taste. Suddenly, a giant Quetzalcoatlus flies by, our final big dino, landing to see them messing with its egg. The mother enraged attacks them. Loomis then proceeds to drop the sample like an absolute buffoon. Leclerc, while screaming in fear, gets swallowed whole by the Quetzalcoatlus. Loomis slides off the cliff to get the sample, saves it, causing his rope to snap. Unfortunately, the foliage breaks his fall. He's fine. We then see an honorable mention of some compies. The rest of the team rushes down the stairs, deeming this whole scene utterly pointless. The last sample is put in the case as they move on to the extraction point. This whole scene is rather confusing, especially with what I can only describe as Aztec ruins. This literally makes no sense and is never brought up again. Another thing is that they have no remorse or bring up at this point that they have lost 3 friends. So in my version, we start off with what's left of the team looking off the cliff face into a giant, ominous, and foreboding cave. The team realizes that their only option is to propel into the cave below. When they reach the entrance, they immediately rush over to the egg. As Loomis is extracting the sample, the team feels a gust of wind and hear a loud clack. Flipping around to see a monstrous Quetzalcoatlus behind them. In a chaotic shuffle for survival, the sample is being thrown around, and right when the Quetzalcoatlus is about to step on the vial, Nina comes in, snatches it up, and throws it to Zora, telling the others to run. As the team flees into the darkness, they see Nina being swallowed whole, never to be seen again. The team continues running as the Quetzalcoatlus makes its way after them as they see a small gap of light. Each one squeezes through, with Loomis being the last, giving the Quetzalcoatlus enough time to peck his arm, severely mangling it. The team have achieved all the samples but mourn for the loss of another friend. Before the reveal, let's compare the scientific facts to the Rebirth version. Rebirth gives their Quetzalcoatlus a hooked beak and loud roars to instill fear in the audience. However, scientifically, the Quetzalcoatlus actually has a needle-sharp, straight beak that is incapable of making sounds, but instead would clack its beak together to communicate, very similar to a stork. Even its movement resembled a stork by being ground-dwelling on all 4s, unable to flap its wings around, but instead just glide. To give it that predatory hawk feel of Rebirth, I mixed it heavily with the peacock to allow the flapping of its wings. It also gives it a flexible neck as shown in Rebirth. However, it didn't come out as pretty as scientists thought, with sparse, disheveled feathers following a disgusting train, along with the great sight of 6 eyes. Here is my version of the Quetzalcoatlus swallowing its delicious snack. Alright, moving on to the finale. We start off with the sly amphibian making its second appearance by stalking the family. Low-key, I'm starting to feel bad not drawing this guy. He was clearly unsatisfied with his honorable mention. Who knows, I might make him hidden in the final drawing. The family paddles onwards till dusk to finally reach the very same lab at the beginning of the movie. Our team also made it to the lab, aka the extraction point. They end up bumping into the family, and Teresa says one of the dumbest lines in the whole movie, claiming that somehow her pushing herself off was Krebs' fault. Krebs tries to become a big villain by keeping everyone safe. Like, bruh. Name one villain with a big transition to evil that wants everyone to stay calm to be evacuated. Then a romantic song starts booming, with all the lights switching on, attracting the same creature that killed the velociraptor, the Mutodon. It got an awesome entrance, but an idiotic name. I swear this movie just gets worse. The peeps split. Family goes into the store, Duncan and Loomis runs up the stairs, and Zora stays behind with Krebs in the parking lot. As Loomis and Duncan are running away, they duck into the lab, which I strongly believe that they should have revealed the backstory right now as a flashback or a security tape. Cutting back to Zora, she ducks under the car to cuddle with the evil Mr. Krebs, who so viciously protects her. After getting some huggies, she takes the gun and Krebs hops in the car and drives away in the search for safety. Panning over to the family, one of the mutadons starts ripping through the roof. Ruben then finds a grate in the floor. Don't worry, the floor is just covered in soda. Nothing happens because the family sneaks inside, dodging the mutadon with ease. Back to Duncan and Loomis in the lab where they see a boat on a camera and the helo flying overhead. The mutadon hears loud, ridiculous talking from the stupid family and goes into the tunnels, with Zora quickly following. As she goes deeper into the tunnels, we see Loomis trying to attract the helo. He shoots the flare, attracting the helicopter, only for an obscene amount of fog to pour in, with the helo bursting out within the grips of Big D, who got much bigger than he was in the lab. After snacking, Big D yeets the helo. Duncan then calls Loomis, and the two then crawl inside the pipes, with a sudden visit back to Krebs, who almost slams into an ankylosaurus but swerves around him. Back to Zora, we see her showing up just in time to unload her magazine into the mutadon, effectively killing it. The group runs into a gate where the only one that can reach the lever to open it is Isabella. As she opens the gate, Big D makes an appearance when Krebs, distracted, drives right into Big D, who proceeds to step on the car and break himself a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Zora warily picks up the case, freaking out at an arm. Like, isn't this what you do? Why are you scared? The team then rushes to the boat, but the chain is stuck. While struggling to get it to release, Duncan does a wannabe Jeff Goldblum and gets Big D to chase him while the others get on the boat. But instead, they waste the time given by him whimpering, giving Big D plenty of time to come back. They start up the boat driving away just to see a flare shoot out of the tree. That's right, Duncan survived. Unharmed. I just want to burn this film. And they speed away in the sunrise seeing dolphins. We then get to see the best scene of the movie, the credits. Okay, I need a major break. Let's talk about the two minor dinos in this scene, the Mutadon and the Ankylosaurus. First, the Mutadon. This creature is an original entity and rebirth, therefore I can't compare it to a scientific version. However, I can compare it to my design. My design is the Mutadon mixed with a peregrine falcon to make it a little more interesting, like having back claws, giving it the ability to snatch, whereas Rebirth has no back claws, making them unable to do any airborne fight. Speaking of airborne, I also gave it tail with feathers at the end to create a guide which gives the Mutadon better flight control. I also gave it two more design elements, a more falcon-shaped beak, and almost all black eyes to give it the fantastic sight of a falcon. So which one do you prefer, mine or Rebirth's? Next, our pedestrian in the road, the Ankylosaurus. This one will have comparisons to the scientific version. The bodies of Ankylosauruses are supposed to be relatively flat with smooth ridges like a turtle shell. Rebirth gives it dramatic spikes on its back and sides to give it a more menacing look. Next is the tail, by far the most iconic thing to the Ankylosaurus, but is sadly false. Scientifically, the tail is sealed together, meaning the Ankylosaurus could only swing it side to side, but not up and down at all. Finally, the Ankylosaurus did not have mammalian vocal cords, deeming it incapable to roar, and would instead rumble or hiss. I wanted to give the Ankylosaurus a proper shell, unlike Rebirth, but give it the mobility to move like the Hollywood version. Therefore, I mixed it with an armadillo, making it a shell smooth yet tough, but also allowing it to move its tail and have mammalian vocals to roar. Meet the Armeliosaurus. The final sequence is disappointing and even aggravating at times, which is why I'll be making multiple changes to this scene, starting off when both groups come back together at the gas station with Teresa hatefully blaming Krebs. With everyone confused, Krebs pulls out the gun and shoots Teresa in the arm and threatens to kill them all. Suddenly, the horrifying mutadons jump out, separating everyone. The scene follows the family inside as they hide from the mutadon. Ruben then sees the the Great. He sees that Isabella is cornered by the Mutodon. Isabella holds Dolores tight and lets out a scream. Ruben then leaps onto the creature, giving the girls enough time to escape into the tunnels below. Their father tells him that he loves them very much as he distracts the Mutodon. We then cut to where Zora gets the gun and Krebs drives off. Zora then sees Ruben limping away from the Mutodon. She is about to help him when Ruben sees a second Mutodon slither into the pipes. Ruben yells to Zora to save his children as he is finally caught by the Mutodon. Zora makes a heartbreaking decision to go after the girls. We then cut to Duncan and Loomis where they discover the lab that started this whole ordeal. We see Zora following the trail, and as she sees the girls, she shoots and kills the Mutodon. The girls then meet up with the others, which then Loomis informs them that Big D has taken out their escape, but Duncan fortunately remembers a boat. The scene plays out the same where Isabella is trying to open the gate and Big D appears. As he is making his way to Isabella, Krebs crashes straight into Big D's leg, who then eats him. At that exact moment, Teresa squeezes her way through to help Isabella pull down the lever to open the door. As the two sisters look at each other, Big D snatches Teresa, killing her instantly. The group is huddled together, thinking that this is their last moments. The sound of a flare is heard. As Big D whips around, Duncan stands defiant under the glare of a blood-red flare, thundering that he has never regretted working with Zora and that this mission is the only time he has ever truly felt alive. As Duncan wards Big D away from them, he tells them to go. The crew sorrowfully jumps into the boat and makes their way to safety. As they are riding off, we hear Duncan's laughter as it slowly goes silent and the red flare is nowhere to be seen. In this drawing, I have depicted the last three survivors, Isabella holding Dolores, Loomis with his mangled arm, and Zora silently crying with the case in hand. In the background, you can see the Distortus Rex roaring after them with the bodies of Krebs, Teresa, and Duncan strewn about, and in the trees are the Mutodon with the body of Ruben, as they watch the last three zoom off. This scene ends with Loomis and Zora looking at each other, signifying that they will make the cure public and live life of commoners rather than kings. They then look forward with Isabella to a hopeful but unknown future. Thank y'all for watching. This movie was horrendous, and I hope I never have to watch it again. Let me know what y'all think and what you believe that tentacle monster was in the water. Please like and subscribe. See ya!